So I remember how tormenting this whole notion of, is this really awareness that I'm resting as, is. I remember a couple of years back, I'd just done a one-on-one session with a facilitator who I admire and also another teacher, Angelo and Violet. And Angelo Dilullo from Simply Always Awake came in at the end of the session, and Angelo and Violet were guiding me to a recognition of awareness more deeply in my experience. And I think at the time I was experiencing some sort of like somatic pain, some sort of emotional pain. And I think Angelo asked the question like, well, who's aware of that sensation? And I remember feeling in my direct experience, it's like, oh, this sense of spaciousness, this sense of vast, open awareness. And then the instruction and the recommendation was to stay with that. Like once you have your finger on the pulse, stay with that recognition of awareness. Stay with it. And I did. For like one day. And then I started doubting again. And what it really felt like in that moment was I realized awareness, could recognize awareness. And then what would happen would be that there was a subsequent set of doubts that would then come into experience. And they would say something like, nah, surely this isn't it. This can't be it. And I would believe those doubts. Now, I want to speak about what has been tremendously helpful for me for confidently recognizing my true nature without succumbing to those painful narratives and doubts anymore, and what really is the key agent that gets in the way. So I want to say, in my experience, and I can speak from my experience, when we use an inquiry question, like who am I, or where is this, or what is this, we overlook the simplicity of where it points to. So we actually feel what we're looking for with that question. We feel and we tap into, we glimpse our awake nature in that process of inquiring. And then we quickly believe the doubt that follows up after it. And we have what leads us to believing that doubt, I believe, is that we probably have some unexamined agendas of what we think awakening will actually get for us. And because if we're suffering with trauma, these painful emotions, maybe something like low self-worth, chronic anxiety, depression, social anxiety, all of these sorts of things that arise in experience are motivating us to awaken. So we're equating at an unconscious level that awakening will mean that I no longer feel low self-worth, social anxiety, depression, or chronic anxiety, for example. So when we tap into something that's so simple, when we tap into our true nature, that's so simple, we doubt and we doubt and we doubt. This can't be it. It can't be this simple. Because, again, that unconscious agenda. So I want to suggest two things. First, get really clear at whether or not you have an unconscious agenda by asking a question like, what do I think awakening will really get for me? What do I truly believe awakening will get for me? And spend some real, authentic time. If we're interested in truth, we need to really look in these places. I remember, for example, I used to have unconscious agendas that I would think that awakening would get me more validation, more love, more respect. And until I actually saw clearly that those are what were motivating the pursuit of awakening, and they could fall away more and more and more, then I could really get into the nitty-gritty of feeling and examining my who and what I'm taking myself to be. So I would recommend that you do that. The second thing is that what's happening, as I've described, is there is like a doubt. Is this really it? Is this really presence that I'm feeling right now? Surely it can't be. Right, so we recognize that as just doubt. So no doubt as doubt, nothing more, nothing less. And as I described in a previous video, I believe it's key that we build nervous system resilience to also train ourselves to realize that instead of using self-inquiry to escape pain, we're coming at self-inquiry from a much more relaxed and embodied presence. So what this will look like is we'll be resting as awareness, and then we might have that doubt arise. And rather than trying to brute force ourselves to remain as awareness, remain resting in awareness with this sort of desperation tone to it, of needing to transcend, of needing to go beyond our pain, needing to go beyond our humanity, we're coming at it through a lens of, okay, there's a doubt that has arisen. So I'm now going to feel that doubt deeply in my body by feeling the sensations. Where does it feel like doubt is arising in my experience right now? Feel that fully. We'll breathe into it. Give that doubt space. Give it compassion. Give it breath. Give it deep attention. And then if there's a subsequent thought underneath that, such as I'm not good enough, or low self-worth, or chronic anxiety, or chronic depression, right? Because again, we might have this hidden agenda of needing to feel better. So if we're coming into contact with these parts of us that are trying to transcend and continue to build nervous system capacity by feeling the sensations fully and deeply, we mitigate this need to transcend our humanity. We're building more equanimity. We're building more acceptance of what's here. And then we start reducing that need to transcend anything at all. And we are welcoming all of experience with compassion, warmth, and acceptance. And then from that embodied place, we can keep returning to inquiry questions such as, well, who's even aware of these sensations? And continuing to abide in our true nature. Now, I remember I had a concern as well. I want to add that I felt like if I were to not keep focusing on resting my attention in awareness, it would somehow slow down my awakening. It was somehow not the right path. It was somehow reifying a sense of self when I was trying to go beyond the self. But what I came to realize is that even with awakening, even with a shift in identity, we're still going to feel what we're feeling. Because it can only be this. It can only be what's right here, right now. And that includes your neuroticism. People talk about a honeymoon phase. For me, that didn't occur. For me, this has been very gradual and a deepening and soaking in awareness and really a coming to a deep acceptance of my humanity, of where I'm deeply flawed, where I'm not ideal. And I remember just having these unconscious agendas that awakening would give me some sort of huge cookie or something, or it would make me really awake, where I would be totally in flow and totally in spontaneity, totally in absolute ecstatic joy to be around other people all of the time. It would make it so that I'm sort of dissolved into the ether. All of these hidden agendas that reveal themselves. While some of these may actually arise in experience, like living in complete flow and spontaneity, for example, I think what's more valuable, especially for people suffering with trauma, is to not try to transcend their ickiness, but come to deep, loving understanding of why they are the way they are through deep feeling, deep acceptance, with an open, curious mind, to keep taking insight deeper and deeper. So I think that gets to the core of it largely, and I hope this helps in some way. If you need more support, there's a link in the description you can click to go deeper with me in this sort of investigation. Much love to you.